Hello travelers, Boardman21 here, and I don't know about you, but I absolutely love minion builds. I play minion builds all the time. I really love like the Beastmaster Squirrels, the Necromancer with all its different types of minions. So today I thought I'd bring you not my top 5 builds of all time, but my top 5 favorite minion builds. And a lot of these have unique interactions that allow you just to play thematically different and play a different way in Last Epoch, especially with minions. So coming up at number 1, we have the Retaliation Bear for the Primalist. You can play this as any 3 of the masteries, but we'll be playing it as the Beastmaster. Basically, the entire playstyle of this build is trying to get your companion to take as much damage as possible. It doesn't matter if he takes it in one hit, if he stands in a dot. All you want him to do is take as much damage as possible, because each threshold of damage, I believe it's around 30 to 75, you can reduce it inside the skill tree. Every time that threshold is broken, he retaliates by having Briar Thorns sent out. Those Briar Thorns do great hit damage. They can also do bleed and poison depending on how you spec it, which allows him just to annihilate bosses, especially if he is being hit with a dot, because it affects him really quickly. In high dense maps, he can absolutely just run behind you and clear all of the enemies out. It is a very fun playstyle. I haven't played it in a while, but I definitely want to return to it because I love having it. It looks really cool, and I love having him run around and just get hit and watching him have that revenge with his retaliation. Coming in at number 2, we have the multiple Bone Golem setup, and you can play this as Retaliation or as just the normal Golems doing as much hit damage as possible. But the cool thing about this is using the unique Aaron's Will, you can have additional maximum Golems based on how many maximum skeletons you can have. It is possible, especially if you get Aaron's Will with LP and roll the +1 skeleton on it, to have up to 12 skeletons, which would mean that you could have 3 additional Golems on top of your base 1, so it is possible to get up to 4 Golems in this setup, which would be absolutely crazy. I don't have the gear currently on my online character to do it, but in the gameplay here you can see they have 3 of them, and it's really cool and a lot of fun going around with 3 Golems, having them just wreak havoc. You can play it with other minions as well. You can still have skeleton mages, flame reaves, you can do abomination with it if you'd like. There's a ton of other minions to throw in there as well, but just having 3 giant Golems and being able to have this unique interaction is really cool. Coming in at number 3, we have the Squirrel Beastmaster, and it should come as no surprise that I also put this in here. I wanted to not include it just to do 5 kind of different minion builds, but the Squirrels are probably the funnest minion build that I play. I absolutely enjoy them. It's my strongest online character at the moment, right behind the Auto Bomber that I've played, and I absolutely always have fun playing it because there's nothing better than listening to the Squirrels running around, getting Scurry and Rage activated, having their eyes glow, and then watching them absolutely annihilate all of your enemies, and listening to their sound effects also will make you have a ton of fun. Overall, super powerful build, super fun to play. It's a bit of a speed runner, can be slow as you get into higher corruption, but it's great for single boss targets. Coming in at number 4, we have the Retaliation Bone Golem, and I really enjoyed this one because nothing's funner than you yourself hitting your minion, making them do extra damage, especially to single targets. It can be a bit slower in the echo runs, but it is extremely fast when it comes to bossing enemies down. Now, this build completely revolves around you hitting your Bone Golem with a skill, and in this case, Marrow Shards. So you can do damage with Marrow Shards as well, but you want to aim and hit both the enemy and your Golem. Every time that you hit your Golem, he will respond by retaliating with a Bone Nova, which is an AoE effect. It sends out bone fragments basically that hit enemies, and they can crit. You can build into that crit and damage with it, doing tons and tons of damage. And the faster cast speed that you have and the more times you hit your Golem per second, the more damage per second he's gonna do. This is a really easy build to put together. It's really fun in the end game, and if you're into minions, this is one build you're definitely going to want to try, especially if you want to go far in the end game. And at number 5, we have the Fire Wraith Necromancer. Now, I have always enjoyed the Fire Wraiths. In fact, I've always enjoyed the Wraith skill in general. I used to enjoy it a lot more when they never had a maximum limit, which I'm going to put into the bonus builds. There's a couple of builds that are no longer viable, but I'm going to throw them at the end of this to show you a couple of the funnest builds that I've ever played when it comes to minions in last Epoch, in hopes that at least one of them hopefully makes a comeback. But I don't expect that. But going back to the Fire Wraith Necromancer, this one is completely revolved around just summoning Fire Wraiths as fast as possible, then hitting them with a Drain Life so that you can have all your mana and leech, keeping your health full, keeping your mana full so you can summon more of them. And then as you summon them and they die off, they have a chance to proc zombies. So not only will you have Fire Wraiths that are attacking from a distance with nice fireballs, you'll have zombies that will be summoned upon their death that then leap onto the enemies and explode, dealing even more fire damage. It is overall a very fun build. It's very visually pleasing, and I've enjoyed it the entire time I've played it. And that's going to sum up the top 5 favorite minion builds of mine. Like I said, we're going to go ahead and dive into 2 more builds that are no longer viable, but were a ton of fun. They are my all-time favorites. So a little bonus footage for you. Coming in as the bonus build number 1, remember these are no longer viable. They do not work like this. These are old builds that used to be my favorite minion builds, and this one was the machine gun Spriggan. And as you can see, he is just shooting out a stream of projectiles. This build was absolutely incredible back in the day, and it was really awesome. It could take down bosses. It was great for going through echoes. Like, its single target damage, as you can see, it was just absolutely crazy. It was doing so many hits per second. Obviously you can see why it eventually got nerfed, and you can't really do anything like it anymore. The attack speed, even if you fully go out on it with the new Spriggan, it's just not the same. But back in the day, this was one of my favorite all-time minion builds. The second bonus minion build that I have for you, again, this is no longer playable like this. The Flameries and the Wraiths in general have a maximum cap, but they didn't used to, and as you can see, we have tons of them in this footage. You used to be able to get over 100 of them. I think the most I ever reached was about 300 when we really fully optimized the build, and then it would crash your PC. But as you can see in the gameplay, you just have a ton of Wraiths, and back in the day, there was some synergies with Drain Life, kind of like you can still do for the mana back now, but Rip Blood used to be bugged and would give you back ward and mana with the blood orbs that you can get back from it. You used to be able to hit all of your minions at once with a single Rip Blood and just instantly get it all back. And so between those interactions, it was absolutely insane. And then for a while, there was also retaliation minions where you could give them reflect damage, and by having 100 minions being hit, whatever attacked them would instantly die, because say Lagan uses the beam and hits all 100 of them for 100 damage, that was 10,000 damage instantly returned. So it got absolutely nuts. Of course, as you can see, it was also a very laggy build, and the cap for Wraiths was definitely needed. But that's going to finish off my list of top 5 favorite builds you can currently play, as well as 2 bonus minion builds that were my favorite of all time that you can no longer play. But let me know in the comments below which minion build is your favorite, and we'll discuss it. As always, stay safe, and I'll see you next time.